Hey guys, T-Treasure here and welcome to another deck profile, this time with Exosisters for Master Duel. So in this one, we will be showcasing Exosisters in their prime in Master Duel, now that we have Martha and the boss monster Magnifica, Exosister Magnifica. So what this deck does, it allows you to control and also OTK as an Exceed based deck, Exceed summoning based deck. So there are multiple ways of doing your combos and stuff, which I will go into a video showcasing a lot of the Exosister combos that you can do turn 1. So you can do like turn 1 plays, or you can go turn 2 plays. So basically going first or when you're going second. So I'll upload that video later on. I've already made the video. I just need to know when this deck was live so I can actually showcase it. Anyway, so onto the deck profile. We've got free Maxi, free Ash. For the Exorcist lineup, we run free Alice, free Martha, because Martha's your extender play and also allows you to summon an Exorcist from your hand. Exorcist Irene, 2 Sophia, because you don't want to draw 3 of them, and also you don't draw as many copies as possible, because Irene is usually either summoned from the deck with the Vadis, or you can summon it out from other ways as well. Because you can search for from different ways. So we got free Martha. Martha is the heart and soul of this deck because you need 3 of it, and also Nibiru for the cross out target. And it's also good because in case you want to Nibiru your opponent. 1 Harpy's Fair Duster, 1 Prosperity, 1 Kabadivum, 2 Call by the Grave, 1 cross out Designator, 3 packs, 3 of the Impermanents, 2 Vadis, 2 Returnia. Now the reason why I only play 2 and 2 is because you don't really go into it that often, and you mostly want to search for it rather than starting off for free. But if you want to make a budget-based copy in a way, playing less URs and more SRs and stuff, yeah, you can play Returnia as a free of, and Vadis as a free of as well. It's up to you, but you don't really go off more if you don't, well, basically you don't play more than 3 copies in duel. So basically you will pretty much cycle out your engine in 2 copies. That's pretty much the gist of it, because you rarely go into that third one. But Returnie does come up sometimes for the third one, but it rarely does. You never really activate the third copy because you're always going to OTK during that second act, or the first activation or second activation. 3 Judgments. You can run other stuff other than Judgments. It's just that in Master Duel it's a best of 1 type of format, so Solemn Judgment in the main deck is actually better than unless you're playing like a side deck version. Then yes, Judgment's great going second. Judgment's great when you're siding. That's what I meant, not going second. When you're siding, it's mostly going first card. And 2 Goes a Match, because this deck can run Goes a Match, and also it's anti-Spright. So if you're making Spright, this deck can wreck Spright pretty easily, and it can literally control the game. So there are multiple ways of playing this deck. In the main deck, I'll explain the adjustments you can do later on. I'll just explain basically what I would play in this deck. Baguska, you can run this, it's optional, but Baguska is very, very good. It never comes up unless you're playing against Flunderies, which now they're dead, is sort of, but it rarely does come up. But if it does come up, you can just make Baguska. Type for Dua, this card's optional, you don't have to play it. A lot of these extra tech cards are very optional. You can run like 3 copies of Caspatel and a Sophiel as well. It doesn't really matter too much because the deck mostly just makes XYZs. And speaking of XYZs, we've run 3 Michaelis. Michaelis is the heart and soul of the XYZ deck because you mostly use this to staff your combos. So you go into Michaelis, search either your packs for the OTKs, or search one of your trap cards in case whatever you're missing. 2 Caspatel searches any monster, any Exorcist monster. And also, I'll explain the negations and stuff with this. Gibrine, 1 copy, 1 Sophio, 2 Magnifica, you only run 2 because you don't really go into the third that much, and by the time you make the third, you already literally won the game. 1 Zeus because that one, and these are the Celine package. You rarely go into it, but it does come up sometimes if you're versing a spell-based deck, and if you're versing a spell-based deck, chances are you've already won because besides the Runick, but Runick is like very rare, and most of the time you have a interesting matchup against Runick because your Returnia literally banishes the fountain, the field spell, and yeah, you pretty much got game and stuff there. And also, Ash is good. Also, Michaelis can banish the field spell. There's a lot of banishing in this deck, and there's a lot of ways you can actually win in this deck. And Magnifica also dodges like your Runick spell and trap that target this card, so you basically banish and then tag out in a way. Pretty simple. Okay, so what can you replace for certain things? Now, if Prosperity was at 3 again, I would definitely run 3 copies of this, because this card's mainly just to deck Fin, or in this case, trying to get into your certain cards. You can run Small World in this, you just need to run the Small World targets in a way, so you can run like Droll in this deck to get into your Martha ASAP, or any of your other Exosister cards, or you can run Commandant as well if you're running Necro Valley. But this is pretty simple to play, because the deck is quite linear in terms of its Exosister playstyle. So basically go into activate Martha, go into your Ellis play, so summon the Ellis from the deck, overlay into Michaelis and search for anything that you're missing, preferably searching either the Vadis for follow-up plays, or if you have already got the Vadis, go for Returnia, or go into packs if you're playing on OTKing your opponent. So yeah, let's see, what would I also take out? Since the deck also runs a lot of URs, that's also a downside of this deck. So if you don't want to run Judgment in this deck, you can run like say evenly matched in this as well. If you have evenly matched, that's also an option to run. Also, Small World's also an option. You can also run this that kind of this. You play mostly a lot of SRs, replacing the lot of the URs in this. But if you should have Ash Blossom and Maxi. This card, so you should have it mandatory in mostly nearly every deck now that plays OCG format with Master Duel. So yeah, you should have 3 copies of this. Let's see, cross out targets. These cards are mandatory because this deck is kind of fragile, so you will need your Exosister lineup plays to help you out. That's pretty much it for the lineup. Pretty simple. You need 3 packs, that's highly mandatory. It's how you can get into your other Exosister plays, and also it's literally can be placed as any other card in the deck. And yeah, so packs has a second effect where if you can have the other Exosister that's listed in its partner's name in the graveyard, you can summon them out via partner's name. So if you have like Ellis, you can summon out either Stella or Martha when you add it to your hand, or if you have Irene, you can use packs to search for Sophia and special summon Sophia that way. Pretty simple. Yeah, because Ellis has 2 targets, you can either go for Martha or Stella, or if you have already Ellis in the graveyard, you just search for Stella instead, special summon, and special summon your extender from your hand. So yeah, Stella is kind of your extender play in a sense. For the extra deck, sorry. You do need to run Redoer. If you have any other budget options, you can run that instead. A lot of URs in the extra deck, but Michaelis and Magnifica are mandatory as those ratios. You can run Michaelis as 2 copies, but the third one does come up sometimes. So just keep that in mind that the third copy does come up, but you mostly try and win before you OTK in a way. Before you mostly for the prosperity target. If you have none left, you mostly go into one of your you banish one of your Michaelis if you have no other option. But yeah, pretty simple. What would you banish for prosperity? Baguska, Redoer, let's see, there's two, Zeus, you don't go into Zeus that often. Mostly you're locked into Exosister cards via Martha, because you can't special summon other than Exosister monsters. So unless you're not going for stuff, these 6 can be literally can be replaced by anything else, because you can literally win without going to access code place, but it's just backup route, just in case you can do other stuff. How you can make these is, without Martha, you just go Stella and special summon Ellis from the hand or anything else, and that's how you get into your Lina and Celine and access code Docker plays if you're versing a light-based deck. So yeah, pretty good. Hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile and explanation of certain things. And if you have any more questions, please place in the comment below. And also, I'll be uploading my combo guide video of how to play Exosister later on in the week. So yeah, enjoy the replays. I versed a lot of Spright, and I've also versed a lot of other decks as well, which this deck has a lot of advantage against. So what's the unique thing about Exosister when you're playing against like the other decks? Well, so with Exosisters you need to know that they have additional effects where if your opponent tries to move something out of the graveyard, you can overlay on top and Exi summon one of your other Exosister Exis monsters. So whatever you need more of, you summon it there. So you either summon Michaelis, Caspatel, or Grabine, or Sophia, it depends on what your picks are. So they all have that effect. Martha doesn't have to specify who banishes out of the graveyard. As long as the card's banished out of the graveyard, Martha allows you to exit summon on top at any time. So very, very good effect. That's why Martha is the strongest card of this deck. Now, what does Michaelis do? And I'll explain what the Xyz and stuff do. So, what Michaelis does is, you don't really care about the first part effects, but it does come up sometimes, but not all the time, it's rare. So, the main things you want to focus on is, during your turn, Michaelis is Xyz summoned, you can quick effect target a card your opponent controls or in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. Also, during your turn, you can attach a material and add a Exosister spell trap. So mostly you're going to go for either packs or Vadas or return here, depending on what you're going to do. Caspatel, the only thing you have to worry about is during turn Xyz summon, you can need to play can special summon monsters from the graveyard for the rest of the turn. So it's like an anti-graveyard type of card, or anti-special summon graveyard. And also during your turn, attach a material and add an Exosister monster. So these are your main play styles. Main plays you normally do during your turn. So you go for Caspatel and Michaelis. Caspatel to search out your extended monster plays, and Michaelis to search out any of your spell and traps. Your Gibrine is basically the way I would think of this is on the Xyz summon that turn effect, you can use as an effect veiler or an impermanence. So that's basically what you can do. Also, you can during your turn detach a material, and all your Xyz monsters will gain 800 attack. So that's how you can create OTKs with this card and Magnifica alone. Those two alone. So a Soviel, it's pretty much Dweller during the turn it's Xyz summoned, and also during your turn you detach a material and return a monster your opponent controls to the hand. So pretty good in case you want to bounce stuff and try and go for OTKs and stuff. Now Michaelis has Magnifica has two different effects. So the first effect is, well, 3 effects technically. First, partly the mandatory effect, or in this case the one you should mostly think about, is it can attack twice during the battle phase. The quick effect is that you can detach a material and non-targeting banish one of your opponent's cards they control. So it does come up quite a lot, and it's very, very good against the current format in a way. So if the other ones, you have the quick effect where you return one Xyz monster that's as a material to discard to the extra deck and overlay on top of it. So you're kind of like tagging out in a way, and it's counted as an Xyz summon on top. So you mostly go into Michaelis on top of that. So what you do is you have Michaelis underneath Magnifica. So what you do is during your opponent's turn, if they activate something, use Magnifica effect to tag out Michaelis underneath. Pretty simple. And that's literally how you can, during turn Xyz summon, banish a card your opponent controls. So Magnifica and Michaelis is literally bread and butter of this deck. So I hope you guys get these combos. Sorry I forgot to mention that at the end of the video. But yeah, thank you and goodbye.